Sorry about the loss. It was
It's
a
all
tough
good.
game. I mean, obviously, you've been a competitor for so long. Let's just start with that. Like, you have been competitive for so long, and these losses have been coming your way for a long time. You have been a serious competitor, and we have seen you grow up from your days when you played with Tarek, and now being a famous IGL, decorated IGL at that. But losses are still hard, and given the experience, how do you usually handle losses?
Try to not get too emotional about it.
Yeah.
Not really like it's different every single time. Depends on like, for example, this loss in particular. It was a low chance we were going to make playoffs, even if we did win. So it hurts a lot less than, for example, certain losses I've had in my career before. But in terms of like how we lose the game as well, like choking like that, that's not something my teams are used to. So it's definitely like a new side to us that I didn't like. I thought we would be able to adjust, and we just weren't able to adjust. So yeah, definitely doesn't feel good. I mean, it doesn't get easier or anything. It's just the next thing. You just kind of have to accept the reality of the situation, understand that you're like we just didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
If you're capable of choking that hard, then you just didn't deserve it to begin with. Also, I've come to the realization that our team just was not playing at a level that was good enough to even make playoffs. The fact that we had to potentially make playoffs through other results tells you all you need to know about that. So
Yeah. Since you mentioned your team wasn't performing as well, uh, one of the questions I asked in the previous interviews I had with other of your teammates was that you are in a group where you are supposed to play Sentinels and then G2 and then Crew, the teams that have are quote unquote better than the other group, actually looking better at least in terms of form. Would you have preferred to have played a sort of like slightly weaker teams in the opening games where you could have warmed up the stage and get some practice in before playing some of the tougher teams?
I mean, of course, I wouldn't have preferred to play in the other group. I would have preferred similar format to last year where you just play everybody.
Yeah.
That would have been the ideal situation because I think that is the best situation for everyone. We can slowly improve as the season goes on, and it's an actual season as opposed to two different splits.
Yeah.
But regardless, we knew what we were getting into. It's not like I would have preferred playing the other group as opposed to our group. If anything, it's a bigger challenge, and I love challenges. So in that sense, we just weren't able to step up and actually win.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I regret the decision to come back. Hopefully, my teammates don't regret getting
Yeah.
myself and Sam. And it's just one of those learning experiences. Like if you fail, you lose, and you lose, you just learn, and you take it into whatever else you end up doing next.
Yep. Uh, yeah, talking about the streaming part you did, and you garnered a massive fan base, not just in Americas, but everywhere. There are huge FNS fans now, and they supported you through the live stream, and they must be supporting you right now. Did you feel that support during these stages where you were going through a tough time, coming into a already tough position with NRG, where there were three wins and three losses, and then losing that first game against Sentinels? Would you get those messages from
Yeah,
your fans?
I mean it's really sweet. It goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it. It's like it means everything to me
Yeah,
and to my teammates that I have that kind of support and we have that kind of support because it kind of
yeah,
bleeds onto the team as well. And I appreciate it so much because like I said, it's usually like it's pretty hard. Like losses are hard, but
yeah,
it means the world when you like one time you look at a video or a comment and it just makes your whole day because you're like, yeah, this person genuinely cares about me,
yeah,
and it does mean a lot. Like it's not something that I say often, even on stream or
yeah,
anything, but it does come along. It does go a long way because it's some random person that I don't know at all saying that stuff. So really, I don't like to focus on the hate too much, but the amount of love that I've received since coming back, regardless of our results, has just been overwhelmingly great.
yeah. Talking about the love you have received, your stream was doing really well before I mean, I'm not saying I'm not going into the wrong direction, just in case you think that. But uh, do you think this was the highest point in your streaming career, where there were a lot of fans, there were regular viewers, like almost 10K every time? Did you
Yeah,
enjoy that
I
time?
mean, yeah, I did not think that I would get the viewership that I got. uh, coming into streaming at the
Yeah.
beginning of the last year, or this year, I was very skeptical because I was like, can I do this full time? Can I be good at it? And my community and I, we were able to like build and build and build and get to a point that was something I'm very proud of because it's again not expected. Like I always believe in myself when I do anything,
Yeah.
but it was an overwhelming amount of support that I received. So it was, yeah, it was all great. I mean, you know, definitely something that I did not expect in the best way possible.
Yeah. Now you talked about the stream and the support and your community, and I'm part of that community, and I would want to see you back at streaming. I know this results didn't go your way, and I was really hoping for you, I was cheering for you, and I just
Like,
stopped streaming when it was 12-12 because I can't see my teams losing. It's very hard
yeah.
for me. But anyways, can we see you back streaming and not talking when PaperX eventually tries throwing?
Yeah, I think now that we're officially out,
Yeah,
there's a good chance that it's very likely that I will watch. I like if Riot allows me, that I will be able to watch Party
yeah,
Champs. So yeah, you'll see me back.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. Let's go back to the game because it is part of the interview process.
Mhm.
Mm, I mean, you started dominated on Ascent, and it was pretty easy, and it felt like the old energy is back, where everything you were calling was on point, and you had the read on them. And then
Mhm.
on Icebox, it was similar where you had most of the rounds, and but obviously Oxy as a player who just popped off, and he just won all the duels. First part of the question would be, how do you usually deal with such players who have this ability to just win every duel they take and just force rounds out of your hands?
Do the best that you can not to let them get into the game that hard. Um, we've dealt with the greatest players in the world at this
Yeah,
point. I've played against everybody, so you try your best to contain them, but the reason they're great players is because they find a way like to get those kills. And in that map specifically, he found ways to get kills, so that's props to him. We also gave him a lot of isolated fights, so
yeah,
mistakes on our end as well.
yeah,
Um, if we hadn't done those things, maybe things would have been different. But I hate taking away credit from players that are able to perform at that level.
yeah.
Um, so he just played well, and it was very hard to contain that.
Yeah. On Sunset, you guys had obviously 12-5, and you said you choked, but what was actually going wrong? Where was this mistakes happening?
Um, in the mid round, our comms were very indecisive, and we had a very hard time adjusting to their play style. And obviously, in hindsight, there were a lot of things we could have done like 10 times better. But in the moment when we were playing, there was no set solution from me or anybody else on how to deal with their mid
Yeah,
splits. And they were consistently getting that first kill as well.
yeah,
And it just makes it so much harder on the round when
yeah,
we like they take that much of the map. We just were playing very, very passive because nobody wanted to give up a kill, and because of that, it gave them so much map control, and they abused that map control to the best of their ability, and then manipulated rotations very well because of it. So credit to them for having that kind of game plan, and then for us, if I were to criticize this, we just played very, very afraid. Bad reactions on our end on how to deal with when a team takes top mid like that. And there were multiple times that it was called and it was just misread, or a player would make this mistake or that mistake, and it was a new player every round. So, yeah, just a terrible, terrible effort as a team after we were up 12-5.
yeah. Would you say it was part of the nerves where you had the results in sight, you had a strong lead, and it, given the start of the split, it was pretty. You were now out of it almost, and then you came back, clawed back. You think that nervousness finally kicked in where you thought that there is a possibility now, and that affected the last round?
I think we have too much experience for that. And
Yeah,
I'll speak for myself when I say I don't get nervous in those situations. I try to think of the solution. And I mean, we had plenty of chances to win. That's all there is to it. We had plenty of chances and plenty of rounds where we could have won and still lost. So I mean, it just comes down to bad decision making, bad teamwork, and just not being able to find a good enough solution for what they were doing. And that's on me as well as in game leader. Defense sides have consistently been the worst for us, like this split. they our attack win rate compared to our defense win rate is like night and day. So it was definitely like an issue we've run into before, and we should have definitely been able to find a solution. So it's pretty sad that we weren't able to. But then again, I mean, they had a good game plan, and props to them.
Yeah. This is a question based on the experience of streaming and experience you have. This was the first time, the last 6 months were the first time you were watching a match without trying to. I mean, you had no players in the game. I mean, obviously you were supporting a team, but you are not really part of anyone or any team. Do you think that experience of watching from a third, from a different perspective, from an audience perspective, helped you in any ways?
It's hard to say that it helped me as a caller because when I'm watching for entertainment purposes, I'm not watching to try to analyze, and I don't retain that information going into the next games. Like I don't retain like, oh, this is how they do an A default, this is how they do a B default. I have to be in a competitive zone to feel that. And when I'm watching on stream and I'm watch partying and stuff, I just watch to enjoy. I don't watch to try to analyze and understand
Yeah,
and retain. So I wouldn't say that I learned all that much and or anything like that, but it was more so that that particular thing, specifically watch partying, just helped in so many other ways for me. It helped my stream grow. It popularized watch partying for other people as well,
yeah,
and it also let me, you know, connect with people that I like enjoy hanging out with, such as Sam, Tarek, um, Nate Shaw at the time. Like I think we streamed a couple of games together, and just other and random pros who would just come in and watch with us. So I just think it opened up those kind of opportunities to be able to do that, and I got to showcase a personality that maybe other people haven't seen before because I haven't full
yeah,
time streamed ever. So a lot of people on my stream, specifically my community who are consistently there, were able to get to know me.
yeah,
So that was great as well.
yeah. I mean, obviously, we had enjoyed the streams. We enjoyed your competitive career. And there's still some years, at least.
Yeah,
And obviously, hopefully, you transition to coach, and you would be a great coach too.
thank you.
Once again, I'm so sorry for the loss. So sorry for the loss. I hope you.
Okay,
Thank you so much for your time. Hope you have a great night, and I hope to see you on your streams again.
I appreciate that, man. Thank
Yep.
you so much.
Yep. Have a good night.
You too.